People influence fires in a number of ways. The scientists have this really neat way of thinking about it in terms of what we call like four switches. So four things that need to be activated for fire to occur. And basically we need fuel, we need dry fuel, we need ignitions, and we need weather to spread that fire. And we get all of those things switched on at the same time. That's when we get fires. And we influence all those switches in lots of different ways. One way is by how we use the land, whether it's through agriculture or forestry or creating cities and urban areas. That changes the mix of fuels in a place. And in some places, how we use the land is increasing the amount of fuel or the availability of that fuel. Another way that we influence the land is through mixing up which species are where. And we do that by transporting, for example, invasive grasses around the world, which are increasing flammability in places like Northern Australia or in Hawaii, for example, where there's been really big and devastating fires recently. We can also influence the mix of species by causing things to go extinct. So in Australia, we've removed lots of little digging animals from the landscape, and those little digging animals were really important in integrating fuels into the soil and reducing and moderating fuels. In Africa, things like the extinction of white rhinos is shifting vegetation and making some areas more flammable as well. A really big thing, though, is how we influence the climate. And we're pumping so many greenhouse gases into the climate that we're in a really unusual space at the moment. So I was just reading a paper this morning where they looked at climate records going back tens of thousands of years, and the period from July to August was essentially the hottest period on record. And there was a day in July or August which was across the globe, the hottest day in the last 100,000 years, and that influences the availability of fuels, dries fuels out. It also influences fire weather, which is contributing to all of these changes. But importantly, all these changes in the land, these changes in climate, these changes in the mix of species, they're all propelled by big social changes, things like industrialization, or in Australia and South America and North America, cessation of indigenous burning, for example. All these big changes have these flow-on effects for the land and the plants and animals we care about, and patterns of fires that we're starting to see.